Hi everyone, Malibu Sean Bateman here again, and welcome to another episode, actually episode 2 of How to Fuck Up a Franchise. And well, earlier on you seen me talk about Jem and the Holograms. Now, I want to talk about G.I. Joe. You see, I love the cartoon, the Generation 1, but after that, it had some, there's some switching around here and there, but I want to talk about the live action movies. You see, part 1 was a test drive on how to make a G.I. Joe film, and they fucked up royally. Because a G.I. Joe Gen 1 fan like myself caught so many mistakes in that franchise, and I have to take my glasses and tell you some of these franchises, what they did wrong in that movie, G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, and what it did for Retaliation. You see, Rise of Cobra bastardized the franchise because they had the writers of that franchise did not pay attention to Generation 1 very closely, because in Generation 1, Duke and Scarlet were a couple, but in Rise of Cobra, they had Ripcord and Scarlet as a couple, and Duke and the Baroness as a couple. And funny thing about the Baroness, she and Destro was like a couple in Generation 1, and oh man, they fucked up the Baroness, because in the animated series Generation 1, she was Eastern European, but in G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, she was American, and she and Cobra Commander were brother and sister. And before Cobra Commander became Cobra Commander, he was buddies with Duke and Ripcord, which, if you pay attention to G.I. Joe Generation 1, the movie, it told the backstory of Cobra Commander, because he's from a sentient race hidden in the Himalayas called Cobra Law. And also in G.I. Joe Generation 1, they had a multi-race American team, and in G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra, they had all these different nationality countries in one team, based in Egypt, which is pretty nice, having an international group of good guys hiding in part of the world that's historically significant, like Egypt. If I did, why not have it in Greece or somewhere in Italy? But Egypt's fine. And also, they had about 3 Americans, a Moroccan, actually 4 if you count Snake Eyes, who was an American living in Japan. Then there's a English soldier and a Moroccan, but no Canadians. If you want to have or someone from the Orient, until part 2, which I'm going to talk about now. You see, G.I. Joe Retaliation, they forgot WAPA in part 1 with some stuff as well, and they dropped the international aspect of the G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra for the Joes, and saying that, you know what, all these guys are American now. If you don't like it, don't screw it. And if you've never seen part 1, Rise of Cobra, here's a little backstory for you, and I'm praising that the writers of G.I. Joe Retaliation did do something smart. They kept a couple from Generation 1 together as almost like a blossoming relationship. It was Lady J and Flint in Generation 1. Which I think was nice. Referencing that relationship from Generation 1. Also, they added Roadblock, and they added a couple new Joes who wasn't in part 1, which is nice. And they swapped out actors with Cobra Commander, which I thought was a bold move, but actually fixed the problem because of G.I. Joe of Cobra Commander's mask, which part 1 sucked, but part 2 was a little bit better. And they brought back Storm Shadow, which in Rise of Cobra, Snake Eyes kills Storm Shadow, but in part 2, he lives. I said, what the fuck? Shouldn't he be dead? And also and G.I. Joe the Joes did actually add like a new group of Joes to help out, try to get rid of Cobra Commander and his cronies. And in a bold move, they made Storm Shadow a good guy at near the end of the film, and which was showing people a little bit of religion called repentance. And also they had in G.I. Joe the Retaliation, I was shocked that they just had only a couple of actors from the original first film, like G.I. Joe live action film, returning to reprise their roles. Duke returned, the guy who played the Channing Tatum returned, the guy who played Snake Eyes, I forgot the guy who plays Storm Shadow's name, and also Arnold Vosloo, who played Zartan in the first film. He returned, which is pretty nice. And to me, Cobra, the battle between G.I. Joe and Cobra is, to me, there's only two battles right there. It's either between Duke and Cobra Commander, or Duke and Serpentor. Sadly, the writers made one big mistake, and it's that if you've never seen Retaliation, spoiler, Duke dies, which technically they were making it not trying to make it onto the original script of G.I. Joe the animated movie, but the American version, after Transformers Generation 1, the movie happened, they rewrote that one scene saying that Duke's alive, he was in a coma, but in the Japanese version, they said that they didn't say that Duke survived, but he actually passed on. So, to all you people out there, if you want to make a G.I. Joe franchise and a series, make it faithful to the original series, and not do your own version of G.I. Joe that almost destroyed the franchise, like Gem. So this is Malibu Sean Bateman signing off.